20, 25 attempts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to be able to like shut him down. Right, but I think if you keep him under 100 yards and he still gets up to around that 20 carry, I think that's enough, because then it's really taken away a lot of what they want. Like, they're opening up the rest of the game. If they cannot stop the run, they have no chance in this game. So if they can keep Zeke to 90 yards, I think they're going to be able to win this game 24-21, probably in the last second field goal. If they cannot contain the run because they don't have those players and Zeke gets over 90 yards, I think this is a blowout. I think it's 34-20.
I'm giving Mr. Rogers. I'm giving Mr. Rogers 24 points. I'm not gonna put him on the three touchdowns.
No, let's see. It would be well, I would say it would, if they win, it's going to be Rodgers, because there's no Adams there. So I think it's going to put a little more illness on him to make plays, because I still think they're working on the run game right now. So yeah, if they lose, it's going to be Zeke, obviously, because that's my caveat, is that they didn't contain him. He went over 100 yards and ate up of the game clock. It's going to take. Because if he gets over 100 yards, I think Rodgers ends up with probably 7 or less possessions, and that's usually not a good spot for him offensively. He does a lot better with over 7 possessions.
I think the Packers win, but I think rules are matched. I think after watching the Saints game or a couple of the previous games, Dallas' defensive line is surprisingly bad and driving the league in yards per carry. I'm giving up really big chunks there. And what they can do, and that's the thing, last time Dallas faced right away was rookie Aaron Jones. He didn't come out right away. I think it's going to be a little bit of Jones, but we got a guy, J.I. have been lacking since they really came out of Notre Dame. I think those are first. I think we're going to use Dexter Williams, and I think we're going to try and go to the Cowboys quite a bit. I think he has coming out ready, and I think we win 28-20. There you go. I just have a doubt about the weakness I see on the Dallas defense, with the run defense. Surprisingly, with the thing they have, it just throws my mind and they look. So we're back to the side. They haven't been complete earlier. Like that's a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game. So that's what's big. We don't know. Those words clear up the board for this week. Thank you very much, because we have this match and everybody else that was affected in their own ways.
Well, I will say this: when I watched the Saints game, I noticed the Saints were using a lot of misdirection plays that seemed to their most success on runs were misdirection plays that got a player with speed out on the edge when you already had the defense flowing in the opposite direction and had to make a counter move. So if they can duplicate that a few times and get some big plays, because really it didn't. That was the thing, is what it kept the game so close, is those didn't result in the big plays like you'd think. They went for like 6 or 7 yards, and then they'd have a couple of good plays and they'd punt. But that seemed to be their most success, was those plays. If the Packers can emulate that and turn a couple of those into big plays, I think that's going to be the difference. Because even last week, you still couldn't, even without Woods, they weren't really greatly successful just jamming it right up the middle. It was a lot of more misdirection and counter plays.
But the Packers do like to go up right up the gut. Yep, they don't have to run up the gut. That's what I'm saying. I heard it Woods in there. If he's carrying the ball, well, what the Packers are going to have to adjust them up, try to use the gaps. You want to play a gap game? I got 2 linebackers that are going to say, hello, Mr. Vanderlecht and Mr. Smith. Probably those 2 linebackers are down the field too.
That's what Dexter Williams is, and that's why we're. I was gonna say Dexter has ran. I mean, as much as every Aaron Jones gets called a burner, he's still oh, I think a four, just under a 4.5. He's like a 4.8, 4.9 guy. Dexter Williams is a 4.28, 4.3, 4.32. He's fast. Yeah, he's got breakaway, get the edge, take off. Now, why he has not been on the field is he has issues in pass protection, some issues in running the right route, and everything outside of the zone stretch play. But boy, if they can get him in some scenarios where they give him a zone stretch where he can find the hole, he's a lot like a Delvin Cook, where you give him a crack, he'll put his foot in it, and he'll bounce. And once he bounces, he can take it to the house from anywhere on the field. He's just one-dimensional. One-dimensional. This is going to be an interesting. This could be an interesting matchup. Yes. Yep. It goes both ways. That's true. Yes. This is going to be kind of a more interesting, because after, let's put it like this, Greg, and I know you're being where you are. You'll agree with me. Everybody was going way too nutty with all the teams around here, putting out power rankings in the first 4 weeks and all that. And then, the Packers got knocked on their ass. The Cowboys got knocked on their ass. And all the, they were getting, Packers defense was getting all this pumped up. And they got, and, the Cowboys, they were getting crowned. And so these teams really, when you look at what happened in week 4, they're a lot closer in, they're built a little differently position by position, per se. But when you take them as a whole, overall, talent-wise, as whole teams, they match up very well and very interestingly, let's say. This is going to be fun, I think, Sunday. No. I was just going to say, what was horrible about that? That was the first time Packers... Oh. He had long hair back then, too, that was flowing out the back of his helmet. Do you think that had something to do with Amari Cooper being there last year and then having Jason Witten show back up to camp this year? Because Witten, at his age, his ability just to be a solid route runner is what makes him effective. He can't. I mean, I can speed walk faster than he runs, but he's like. Do you think maybe that had something to do because Amari had he had Jordy come there, and work with him in the offseason. He had James Jones show up there when he was young, and James was not a burner. Well, I was just about to mention that too, and Cobb is a very So, do you think that just some of the guys that have come around him since the middle of last year and in the off season have really helped him grow that much faster?
But they basically said that his focus coming in the off season was just real. Like that he just studied. And then everything he was studying, he would really work on it. He can run every route that a receiver needs to run. And everybody last year was trying to with those batters because that's all they let him do, right? But he's showing he has the ability, and that can open up so many other things for everybody else to not just him.
Is he the
thing that makes the Cowboys, the thing that has made the Cowboys dangerous now, especially in the second half when they played very well in the offense, is currently winning. We got two veteran safety wells. Thank you as a first down. They just kept the job done. Keeping the drive alive, then you can put a Cooper, then you can feed bang.
Well, I will tell you this much. This week you can kiss Cobb goodbye. He's going to be matched up with Tremont. He's going to be matched up with Tremont Williams, and I'm going to tell you right now, Tremont can't run that much, but Cobb's not that fast anymore. Now that he's a little older, he's more of that slot twitchy guy, but he's never been able to get off press. And Williams, that's what he's good at, especially in his older age. They're going to match him up with Cobb, and so it's going to be Gallup is going to be very important. But here's the thing. Do you think that the reason that they have not signed Amari Cooper yet has something to do with how quickly they're seeing Gallup develop?
That's definitely plays a role in it. But the other single factor is that they focused on team first. They got to get back when Amari is going to be the third wheel. If he's sick, he's going to be staying around. If not, this is one hell of a draft class for the Cowboys this year. They got quarterbacks and receivers. They are loaded. We're thinking, wow. If I got that first one, you take that price back and give me. If we get up into that range of the QB early, for sure. If I have my troubles, I'd probably go with our receiver. Good choice. Well, I'm probably going to. Right now is going to be
All right, guys, it's about that time to wrap this up. So, Greg, we are going to have you give us our final word for this Week 4 matchup.
So the final word for this matchup is going to be entertaining. Oh, it wasn't bad. I like it. There you go. Well, you said the final word, so I get to go first one, right? The game did never let them. So, it'll be fun.
How about you, Dave?